Welcome back, our dear viewers, and today we're having a very special guest. Actually, she is very intellectual and she's a bookworm, a very interesting person, a beautiful person in and out. And let me introduce Miss Reeya Jafar. Welcome on board.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here today.
It's our pleasure to have you on board. Could you introduce yourself, please?
I'm studying 5th grade in the Indian Community School, Kuwait, and I'm 11 years old. My hobbies are cycling, swimming, I like to play table tennis, and most of all, I like to read.
Wow, brilliant. So, for example, how many books have you covered till this point?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I would have read like over 800 by now.
Over 800?
Yeah.
That's a magnificent number, to be very honest. So what brought you to reading? Why reading?
Well, when I was very young, I was actually introduced to this to these books by Dr. Seuss. Actually, one of them was Cat in the Hat. And in this book, it actually has a very funny language which compels us to read, and it's rhyming. And I actually felt like this is very interesting. And I started reading more and more, and finally I was completely into a world of books.
Brilliant. And what kind of books do you like to read?
I like to read a huge variety of books.
Such as?
Mostly I like to read mystery, and otherwise I also like to read fantasy, mythology, and also autobiographies and biographies.
Okay. And what is the current book that you are reading?
Well, currently I'm reading this really interesting book. It's a series called Max Einstein, and there are 4 books in this series. They're by Chris Grabenstein and James Patterson. And basically in this book, there's a young child genius. Her name is Max Einstein. And she's an orphan, and she joins up with other child geniuses to try and reduce world problems like global warming and world hunger. And then in the process, she realizes who her parents are. They were geniuses in the past. They worked with Albert Einstein, and they worked with his theories and made a time machine, and she was accidentally sent in the future.
I will make sure next time when I host you here to know more about this lovely book once it's over. All right. At which age did you start reading?
I started reading actually at the age of 5.
5?
Yeah.
Okay. And in Kuwait in general, where do you read? I mean, stations,
When I was
bookstores?
younger, actually, I used to go to a neighborhood library. I live in Salwa, and I used to go there very often. It's a really nice library. But when I became older, there are few books. So now I go to bookshops, and I buy the books weekly. They're really nice books which I get. And also from our school library, we are allowed to borrow books weekly.
Brilliant. And what is your favorite book till this moment?
It would be kind of hard to say which is my favorite book, which I've read, because I've read many of them. But let me just say my favorite authors are James Patterson, Enid Blyton, Chris Grabenstein, Joanne Holub, and Suzanne Williams.
Wow, what are choices? Brilliant, brilliant choices. And how much time do you spend in a weekly basis in reading?
Well, I read about 1.5 hours every day.
Every day. Okay, that's approximately up to 9 hours a week.
Yeah.
Interesting. And how does reading help you in your life?
I feel the way in which reading helps me best, it makes me feel happy. Like when I'm relaxing or taking a break from studies, it actually makes me feel really comfortable and happy while I'm reading. And otherwise, I feel it has increased my vocabulary greatly, and it also gives me knowledge. Like in that book Max Einstein, which I had mentioned earlier, they mix some sciences along with the humor, and those actually we learn in school. It actually helps me with that. And autobiographies and biographies, they actually inspire us. The famous personalities who are considered to be top in the world, they may not have succeeded the first time, but they worked hard and they succeeded. This actually inspires us a lot.
Okay, are there any specific books that you would suggest for reading at the moment?
Well, for people who are beginning to read, I would suggest books by Dr. Seuss from the Cat in the Hat Learning Library. And for children who are older, it just depends on what kind of books you like. I for one like mysteries, and so I read books by Enid Blyton. Some of them, the series actually, Famous 5, Secret 7 and 5 Find Outers.
Brilliant. And one more question that is off the list, as I believe that you're a very interesting person and I'm super happy to have on board with me. What is your aim in life? What is your goal?
In my life, I want to become a scientist. I want to help the world and discover something new.
Brilliant. Is there a specific field that you want to get yourself through?
I want to be an astronaut and travel to space.
Okay, very interesting. Any final advices for our viewers?
I would like to say to our viewers, keep reading as it will inspire you. It will help you to the utmost.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure
Thank
being
you.
here.
And back to our beloved viewers, we had a very interesting guest, as you said. Now it's the time to move on to our lovely report. So please join us for more.
Well, we're back right here in the studio, and I hope everyone out there is enjoying their evening. If you're just tuning in, you are watching Hela Kuwait right here on KTV2, the family channel, and our Ramadan programs, and I hope everyone out there is having a very peaceful and relaxing holy month of Ramadan. And I have to say, Talal, that was a very interesting interview we had with that young girl. She's so fascinating.
Absolutely. Till this moment, she went through and over 800 books. Could you imagine this, Tara?
800 books?
800 books.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
I mean, most adults haven't even reached that number, and will never reach that number.
Yeah, and coming across your lovely guest, Mrs. Alicia K, I think she's running a brilliant job with this initiative.
Yes, it's always nice that we have guests from different charity organizations that are doing their best to help out the people that are in need during the holy month of Ramadan. And she was so eloquent in the way that she talked about the great things that her and the team are doing to help the individuals who need assistance during this very special month. Talal.
Indeed, I totally agree about it.
And how are things going with you in Ramadan so far?
Fabulous.
Excellent,
I mean,
excellent.
I'm super happy, and I can't wait until we reach to the point of Giryan.
Yes, it's also going to be a festive time for the kids during that time, and a very nice traditional part of Kuwait's traditions during that period.
Indeed.
Well, it was a pleasure, Talal, to be with you today right here on the program.
The pleasure is mine.
We had a great time, and now we're going to move on and take a look at another one of our amazing reports this evening right here on Hela Kuwait. Stay tuned.